Hello everyone. I got a little bit of a different kind of video today. I've had an issue here in my yard where I've got kind of like a sinkhole forming, or at least the ground has sunken in. This is an old flower bed. It used to have some bushes and things like that. It still has bushes and whatnot now, but I'm not sure if the old bushes rotting away has caused the ground to collapse, or if there's something else going on. So I'm gonna dig it up and see how it goes. Here's the area we're talking about here. If you look at my bed, flower bed edging stones here, you can kind of see how they've fallen in. I don't know how well this translates on camera, but there's big kind of a divot right here, and of course there's this hole. The hole's, I don't know, a few feet deep maybe. I'm not sure if a critter started that or what, but I think I have a downspout over here, and sometimes when I cut my yard I flip the downspout over into the flower bed to keep it out of the way while I mow, and I forget to put it back out in the yard. So I think that may have made the problem a little bit worse, because that causes all the water to get directed down into this low spot here, and it really has nowhere to go, and so I think that might be part of why this is formed. The other thing I got going on here is I have a water line that runs almost right here, and I've noticed I've had some issues with some water coming in the house where the water line comes through my concrete wall. So what I'm going to attempt to do today is I'm going to attempt to dig up this area, see if I can figure out anything what's going on, and also dig up the water line and put some stuff on the end to try and keep the water from coming in the house. It's not actually coming in on the line itself, it's coming in on the pipe that's around the line. So let me go in the house and I'll show you a little bit more of what I'm talking about, and we got to locate where this water line is outside before we really start digging. All right, we're inside the house now. Here's where my water line comes in. You can kind of see I've got a line, and then I've got this PVC pipe that goes around it. Well, what happens is when we have a real heavy rain, is that water comes through this outer pipe, this PVC pipe. It's not a lot of water, just a little bit. This was, when we bought the house, this was packed full of silicone caulking, and that'll only get you so far. So I think what I'm going to try and do, since I'm doing all this work anyway, is I'm going to try and dig out to the other end of where this PVC pipe comes through. I think it goes further than just the other side of the block. I think it actually goes out to the yard a little ways. So I'm going to try and dig that out and pack the end of it with some hydraulic concrete, and we'll see how that goes. But first, I got to figure out where this water line is. I do have a point of reference. I've got, this is where my dryer, air dryer goes through the wall, and I should be able to measure off of the side of this. It won't be perfect, but it'll give me a rough calculation of where this thing's at. So before we start, I want to see how far this thing goes. I have an idea because I've already done this, but I've got just a piece of fiberglass rod here, and I'm stuffing it down. Okay. Yeah, that's where I'm hitting. So it looks like, I think these are about 4 foot. I'll measure this out and measure out all these dimensions, and that'll give me an idea of how far I need to go when I'm digging. Okay, well, so I took my measurements, put them here on the wall so I can't forget them, and did some rough measuring. Now I can't measure down, I'll have to do that kind of as I go. But that puts the end of that water pipe is right where that tape measure sitting. Now you might notice there's a rose bush there. There it is. I put that rose bush there probably about 5 years ago. I managed to put it directly on top of my water pipe. I don't know if that was an issue, if that was a good idea or not. And at the time, I don't think I knew that I did that. But you can see why I'm doing these two jobs together, because these two things might be related. I'm hoping that I dig and I find that my water pipe is doing just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. This sinkhole stuff is unrelated, but well, we'll see. So I haven't one other thing I'm going to test before I start digging is I'm going to go turn the water main off at my house and then go look at the curb and see if there's any water flow showing. I don't think I have a leak because I haven't noticed any spikes in my water bill or anything like that, but that is a very real possibility because the roots from this thing could cause this problem. There used to also be a tree right here. We cut that down probably about 5-6 years ago, and there's probably a lot of roots from that thing too, so I'm not sure what I'm getting into here. Okay, I've got the biggest of the mulch pulled away. I had some lawn fabric or weed blocker down here, and so that kind of helped me pull most of it back. Yeah, this is a good bit bigger than I thought. If you look, you can see that it's like just a whole shelf. It's collapsed in. I did check at my water meter, turned the water off in the house, and I didn't see anything flowing, so that seems like I don't have a leak. Seems like a good thing. I'm not sure about the future of this rose bush. I'm always at war with it. It seems to constantly grow year-round. And although it has pretty blooms, man, it's got tough spikes. So I think I'm going to start by trying to dig around it, but if I have to remove it, well, so be it. So, alright, well, I guess this is what it looks like before I start cutting into the dirt. Okay, quick update. The rose bush is gone. It was either get rid of the rose bush now or watch it slowly die after I cut all of its roots. So, I think probably the better decision was just go ahead and take it out now, bite the bullet, and then I'll find something to put here later. Well, there she blows. Right there. I don't know if you can see that. Right there's the end of the white pipe. And that black pipe should be my water line. And as you can tell, there's a bunch of dirt stuffed in the end of it. So I think what happens, since it's just kind of open to the world, I think what happens is the water in this area rises up, and so the water's sitting, like the water table is sitting up high enough to reach the bottom of that white pipe. And so then it just finds its way in because that's the path of least resistance. So it looks like I'm at the point where I'm probably gonna have to dig by hand. And I've got to kind of like carve out probably about maybe a watermelon size area around this joint here so I can get a good look at it and try and plug up the end of it. Looks like I will have to dig into my yard a little bit more than I wanted, but that's all right. I kind of figured that happened. So, but hey, I found it without too much trouble. That actually wasn't a lot of digging. It's kind of tough, but not too bad. Okay, well, we've got the hole pretty well cleared out. I think I got enough cleared away for me to do my work. This thing's pretty deep. It's about I don't know, 3/4 of the way up my leg. But here you can see we got the main line that runs in. That appears to be a PEX line. I wasn't sure what the material was, but I think it's PEX. It's plastic at least. It's not copper. It's not iron or anything. And so of course there's the end of the pipe. Well, I wasn't surprised by this. I dug this out of the end of the pipe. This is a big chunk of just silicone caulking. This is what they had done on the inside. So they just put like a ludicrous amount of silicone on the end of this pipe and on the end of the other side in an attempt to seal it up. So looks like what I got to do now is try and go through and pull all that stuff out of the way, try and get it as clean as I can. I'll wash kind of that area off, and then I'll start mixing up that concrete and fool around with getting that end of the pipe plugged up. So, all right, time for another update. I'm taking a little break. I've got the pipe all cleaned up and prepped, so I think I'm just about ready to start with the cement. So I'm gonna take a breather before I start that. I want to show you a couple things. Here's part of the plug that I dug out of the end of the pipe. As you can see, that's a big old hunk of silicone. Probably worked for a while, but silicone doesn't bond very well to PVC and other things, and so it eventually let loose. So I dug that out. When I was digging, I found a couple of rocks. That is not a rock, that is concrete. As you can see, it's got perfect curve to it. I think this must be left over from the last pipe, the last water line that was in, maybe? I don't know. That's all I found of it. It wasn't set in any particular position, so I don't think it was protecting anything. I do think it was left over from when the water line was replaced. Found this. That's kind of an interesting rock. I'll clean that up a little bit. Haven't seen one like that. It's some quartz and I don't know, something black. You can kind of, some of the quartz is actually fairly clear. You get a lot of times I dig up rocks like this. That's just solid quartz, but it's all smoky. That's pretty common around here, but I haven't seen one like this with the veins on it before. I dug up another one. I think that's just smoky quartz. So, oh, here's the stuff we're going to be using. Just some Quikrete hydraulic water stop cement. It sets pretty fast. I think this is really like a cement mix with almost like an epoxy in it. It's pretty nasty stuff from what I can tell. They say it can give you pretty good skin burn, so I gotta get some nitrile gloves, a few other things like that, and it'll set in just a few minutes. So I've never used it before, so I might play around with it a little bit before I try and put it on the pipe, or I might just go for it. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes, but for now I'm just gonna take a little break. All right, I've got 9 ounces of hydraulic concrete and 2 ounces of water. I think that's the right mixture. It said to add concrete mix to the water and stir till it got into like a putty, and then from there start rolling it in your hands. So, oof. This didn't seem like very much water. But, actually, no, that's about right. It's not too clumpy, seems to be mixing pretty well. I guess if it doesn't set, I'll know I mixed it wrong. Okay. Whew. Okay, let's get this out of here. Start rolling it to a blob. Whew, stuff's drying fast. We're just gonna push it all up. And around this pipe. Oh man, I can smell it. Whew. They're not wrong. Yeah, that did not seem to take. Alright, attempt 2. Got 3 ounces of water this time. Still 9 ounces of this. Seems about right. Mix that in. Okay. Ooh, it's pretty runny. Yeah, that was too much water. Okay, well now we know. Sometimes I've done this before where you've mixed it wrong. Let's try and add just a little bit more powder. Doesn't take a lot. Let's try that. That seems better. That might have been too much. Kind of how this goes. Phew, man, this stuff smells. Probably should be wearing like a ventilator or something. Oh well. Okay, this feels like a better consistency. Let's try this. I'm back again. The hydraulic concrete kind of did the job, but not quite. It did a good job at filling up the cavity, so the end of the PVC pipe where there was a hole, it did a good job at filling that, but it didn't do a good job at actually covering the end of the pipe. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and try some epoxy tape stuff. I'm familiar with it. It's like a roll of some sort of a fibrous tape-like material that's got epoxy in it, and you basically put it in water. That'll activate it, and then you wrap it around the area. It's supposed to repair. It's like for plumbing fixes and things like that, like if you have a pipe that cracks or something. So we're gonna try that, but let me show you what it's looking like. One of the other things I did was I added some support underneath the pipe here. Because this is just kind of free floating, it has the ability to flex, and I think some of that is why the cement didn't want to hold well. Now the end of the pipe right here, that's, like I said, that's all plugged pretty well by the concrete, and this stuff did set pretty good. I mean, it's pretty, yeah, I mean, it looks about right. It's about what I'd expect for concrete, but it just didn't want to hold on to this plastic. When you read the instructions talking about the hydraulic concrete, it says to shove it into cracks and whatnot and don't put it on the surface, so I'm guessing that it holds on to other things well but doesn't hold on to itself very well. So I think that's part of my problem. So I'm going to try and take that epoxy, wrap it around this, and just kind of cover all of this. It might be overkill for what I'm doing, but I don't want to have to do this again, so we're gonna give this a shot. Tape stuff. They give you, this is the wrap they want you to wrap it with. It's basically just like medical wrap. So okay. These gloves are way too big for my hands. Is it open? Here we go. Ugh. Yeah, this stuff smells worse than the concrete. Okay. Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10. Okay, that should be good. Now we're gonna go wrap the pipe. I don't think there's really any undoing this. So Yeah, this stuff's blech. Stuff's nasty. So to wrap it as tightly and as evenly as you can. They didn't give you any guidelines about overlap, but whatever. They're also expecting you to kind of use this more for fixing a crack in a pipe than for a repair like this. Yeah, this is not going great. I mean, I guess not going great, subjective. It's probably gonna seal the end of the pipe pretty well. Man, this stuff is nasty. Oh gosh, there's a big glob. Okay, so then let's try and take this. I'm gonna focus mostly on this middle bit. Try and wrap around there. Yeah, this is just medical waste wrap. I guess just to kind of hold everything in place so it can set kind of like you need it to set. All right, well, it's been not quite an hour, probably about 50 minutes. I was supposed to remove this black wrap after about 5-6 minutes, but like I figured, it was full of epoxy and half stuck to everything, so I just left it on there. For what I'm doing, it ain't gonna hurt nothing, but this stuff's pretty tough. It's hardened up pretty good. It's got a little bit of give to it, like this little edge over here. It's not hard like a rock. It definitely has some flexibility in there. They say it'll fully cure in about an hour, so maybe with another 15-20 minutes or so it'll harden up some more, but I think this is as good as it's going to get, so I'm going to start filling the hole back in. And then of course I got this, here's the other side, here's this sinkhole kind of area. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and chop some of this up with the shovel, at least as much as I can, and I'll put dirt in it, or put the dirt back in it, and I'll try and compact it down as much as I can. So that's about the best I can think of doing, so we'll see how that goes. All right, well, it's about 8 o'clock, and I'm done. I didn't film much of the refilling the hole with dirt. That was pretty boring and really tedious. Basically what I did was I took my dirt pile and I threw a decent amount in there, and then I'd stomp it down with my feet, and then I had a big sledgehammer that I kind of used as a tamper. I would tamp and pack it down real good and throw some more in, and basically do that over and over again. I did run out of dirt. I had to go dig up some dirt from another part of the yard. That was rough because the dirt was pretty packed and it was full of rocks and stuff like that, but got it done. Since I had done all this, I decided I'd go and get some more mulch because I needed to remulch anyway. So I went ahead and got the mulch, picked that up earlier while I was waiting for my epoxy to dry. And instead of putting like a plant back in its place, I've put just like a large half barrel planter thing that we had a bunch of wildflowers in it. It was sitting in the corner previously, but I was able to move it and set it over where the rose bush used to be. That way we've got a little something there. And I think I'm probably going to run out and go get another one of those barrels, and I'll plant some other flowers in its place where that barrel was, because I'd like something to be there as well. But I think this works out pretty good. So this is the area that I dug up. You can see back there, well, it's very faint. Back there is where my mark was. So the rose bush was sitting squarely right here. And this is my wildflower pot. I think these flowers weren't getting enough sun to begin with, so they'll definitely get sun here now. And then I went through and spread the mulch and got all my bricks kind of back in a row. They're a little higher than they were before. but still slightly sunk in. But well, that's good enough for me. So I think we'll call this a job done. It sure took long enough. Thanks for watching.